MACC. I am a Mr. Slash. Actor slash, editor slash, motivational speaker slash. Man, there's so many different slashes. I guess it's interesting because I'm gonna give you all the 30-second story. I came from St. Louis, moved to LA, was on a show called College Hill, and then I got bored with reality. I got bored with television. I mean, the money is nice, don't get me wrong, but at the same time I always felt there was more to what I wanted to do and what I wanted to be. And here's what changed it for me, because I was already running, because people in St. Louis, because I'm a preacher's kid, and people be like, hey, you're gonna be a pastor too. I'm like, first of all, I'm not gonna be a pastor, and to prove it to you, I'm moving to Los Angeles where I know all the heathens live. So I end up moving out here, and I've been on TV, I have commercials, I've known people that people praise and have posters of, hung with them. And then one day, I went to my friend's son's funeral. He died at 6 years old, and drowning accident. And while I was there was like 500 people at the funeral. Fire department, police department, the mayor of Compton came, and just friends and family. And it wasn't that they just came to this kid's funeral. The head of the fire department had a speech about the kid, where it's like the kid would walk by the fire department and just hang out with them. Or the police department had a conversation about this kid. It's like this kid touched so many people at 7 years old. And then I thought about it. If I died, who would come to my funeral? Of course, family. Of course, there might be some friends, but I couldn't tell you about 500-600 people coming to my funeral. And so it was kind of at that point I was like, all right, Willie, what do you need to do to leave your mark on this, in this country, in this town, in this city, and people? And I thought about it. I have a story. And not just any story. Of course, on TV and all this stuff, and on Instagram and Facebook, you might see like, oh, happy jolly Willie. But it hasn't always been happy jolly. There's been a lot of tearful nights. There's been a lot of nights where I literally was homeless, sleeping on different couch from different couch. But we don't talk about that type of stuff. And one thing I was noticing about motivational speaking was people love to hear a story, a good story. And I was always trying to find that avenue of how to talk to people, and I thought it was like stand-up comedy, so I was like, let me do stand-up comedy because I'm funny. And then it was like, let me try different avenues of just speaking. But I think all in all, I enjoy motivating people and being funny at the same time. So that's who I am and what I'm kind of up to right now. The reason why people would like to listen to me, listen to my story and what I have to offer, is because I have a story. I have a lot to offer, a lot of knowledge, and it's not about telling people what to do. It's about telling people, it's not about telling people what to do or how to do it. It's about listening to what decisions I've made and how I got to certain points, and you follow along with it if you choose. You can take pieces out of it. Let me give you an example. I'm gonna try to sum this up in 30 seconds to a minute. I'm gonna tell you how I'm standing in this exact point right now. Started back all the way to St. Louis, high school. I got my first job at Burger King. I met this girl named Erica, and me and her became an item. In high school, I ended up getting her pregnant. And then her brother, I had this card, and he's like, look, I have a system for you. If you can steal some clothes from this other job that I was working at currently called Kohl's, if you can steal some clothes from me, I'll put the system in your car. I was like, cool. Stole the clothes, gave him the system, got caught, got fired, And I worked at this other job named Churning Shoes Outlet. At Churning Shoes, I met this girl who I ended up dating. And she's like, hey, I plan to move to Los Angeles. I was like, move to Los Angeles? I'm like, no, you're crazy. Like, nobody from St. Louis moves. Like, this is what we know. We're not a movers. So she's like, well, I'm going. And I would love for you to come because I think you could do something out there. I bit my tongue because I tried to go to college in St. Louis and I could not because my GPA in high school was horrible. And so this college in California that she was going to was like, we'll accept you. I'm like, cool, perfect. So we moved to California. In California, I was really broke, did extra work for a while. Then I looked on Craigslist and saw this ad for this show called So I Want to Date Your Sister. Was on that show. The executive producer on that show was like, Willie, you're really funny. We got this show called College Hill. If you're interested, we're going to be shooting in the Virgin Islands. Would you want to do that show? What? Virgin Islands for 3 months? I'm there. Do the show. Became an editor because I needed someone to edit my sketches because I got tired of paying people to edit my sketches. So I edited my own stuff. Then I started to do all these radio interviews and people was like, you should be a stand-up comic. You're funny. So I started to do comedy and then one thing led to another. And eventually I'm at this point where I'm at right now. If I would have never stole those clothes at that job, I would have never met that girl from Churning Shoes Outlet. If I never would have let that girl brother say, hey, yeah, come on, man, steal these clothes. Let me put this system in your car. If I would have even got a good GPA in St. Louis in high school, then I would still not be here because I would have went to college in St. Louis. And pretty much all I want to say is like, I haven't, even though all these sound like crazy decisions, when people are like, man, which one of those mistakes would you like to take back? I never made a mistake in my life. I've made a bunch of life-strengthening decisions. That's how I look at it. Because any one of those reasons and any one of those situations could have altered me standing right here to talk to you. And that's what I would love to tell people. And that's a reason why you should listen to me. Any advice for people that want to do what I'm doing? You have to be very persistent. You can't quit. I have cried many of nights. I have wanted to go home and move back to St. Louis many of nights. For example, I'm going to give you something that a lot of people don't know that I've just recently started sharing. Right here, hold on. I have dentures. I lost my teeth. Six years ago, to my favorite cousin in the world. He was living with me at the time, and he was always drunk, always high. Me and him got into it because he ate up my food. And I said, DJ, why did you eat up my food? And he hit me in my mouth. I lost my teeth. We got into a really big fight. And at that point, I wanted to go back home to St. Louis. For months, I had a really strong lisp. I talked like this a long time. I had to retrain myself to talk, to say different words that was easy months before. There's plenty of times that I could give you where I wanted to go back home and I wanted to quit, but I didn't. After I retrained myself how to talk, I got better. I made myself funnier. Then I started booking commercials. And then the commercial money I used to start flipping homes. And with that money that I used to flip homes, I ended up investing into different movies. And then things started to build, but you have to be persistent, you have to stay strong, and even when things happen in your life, you have to stick to it. And the biggest thing I always want to say is the mistakes, because people want to put negativity on as much as they can. You got enough negative things happening in your life, so if you make a bad choice, a bad decision, don't call it a mistake. Call it a life-strengthening decision, because that's what most of it is, because you can use any of that to tell your own story. Again, I'm Willie MACC. If you want to follow me, listen to more of my story, what I'm up to, follow the links down below.